So you hear so many things every day about the market and how it's behaving, what's happening, what isn't, but I wanted to take you more on a ground level today and see what are people actually spending their money on. Like, people have hard-earned dollars, especially in an economy like this, and real estate is still being bought and sold every single day, despite what the media might have you believing. So to prove this, I'm going to go into my MLS system with you. We're going to go less than 500,000 today and see what people are actually buying. In other words, things in the city of Toronto that have sold in the last 7 days. Leading up to this video, it'll probably be closer to 10 days when it comes out, but very, very real-time stuff about what's going on today, what people are actually paying money for, what's moving at what price, and I think it'll provide a ton of insight. I hope you find it really valuable. If you do, drop an early like, please, and obviously subscribing to the channel means a lot to us as well to help us grow. What we're doing today is only seeing what's sold, not sold conditionally, but literally pen to paper, all conditions waived, deposits in, the place is sold, right? And we're going to see what prices they sold for as well. Let's get us started here. What's selling for exactly 400,000, right? First of all, we're right at Queens Quay, right by the water, in a really, really nice neighborhood. The important thing to keep in mind here, 0 parking spots. I saw a few people make videos about this as well, but that is the property type that it's being rejected by today's market the absolute most. Unfortunately, it's places that are tenanted. Nobody wants to assume a tenant in this market because why would you? You have all the cards in your hand, all the options out there. Why are you going to settle for something that you can't even move into, have to become a landlord, don't even know if they're going to leave? The list goes on. And the other property type that they're really rejecting, quote unquote, are no parking space properties, because parking is obviously coveted downtown. It's not a guarantee to have a spot. It costs a very, very large amount to park. If you don't have a spot every night overnight for a resident, it's not even a viable option, obviously, but even for visitors, I've paid $40-45 sometimes if you don't know exactly which garage to go to and you're not in the know of what residents are saying there. You could get scammed for quite a bit for parking. I'm sure everybody here knows if you've been around the city. So here, we definitely want to look for a parking spot. That's why it's sold so low. Obviously, 400,000. I say it's low because the price per square foot on it is a good deal for Toronto's market, right? Regardless of where it was before, listed at $499. So this is clearly someone who is motivated, and it took them 67 days. We're seeing this again and again with sellers who, at first, nobody's going to match the reality of the market, right? Sellers have a price expectation in mind. You and I would as well. If we're putting our place on the market, it's a tough pill to swallow that, 5 months ago, 10 months ago, the price would have been this. Now it's that. We're only seeing the most motivated people actually sell. And that's what we're seeing here. Before we dive into the photos, I just want to check the maintenance fee. Wanted to flag it with you because, again, the sale price of 400,000 means it's going to compensate somewhere. And the lower the sale price on these bigger units, especially in prime downtown locations, the higher the maintenance fee. And we have $761 here for a 1-bedroom, very pricey. Obviously not like old 30, 40 plus year old building pricey. Those could get into the 900s plus if they haven't been managed carefully. But here we see 761 getting up there. And obviously maintenance fees only go up. They never go down. And the other thing I want to point out here, estate sale, right? A lot of clients ask us, are estate sales a better deal than other properties? Potentially, right? Because it's a property that they're not going to do much work on, right? The bank isn't going to go out of their way to invest money in it or stage it or paint it. No, it gets sold 100% as is, and somebody might have passed away there. And anyway, you have to do your research on what you're actually getting. But even past that, banks are classically the worst and slowest seller you could possibly deal with. First of all, anything that you try to put as a protection into your agreement, they're just going to cross out and wipe away anyway. They're not going to let you get anything into the agreement to actually protect you. And after all of those scratches and strikeouts of things that you actually want in there, they also have a bunch of terms, conditions, and clauses that they demand get put in. Otherwise, you're not buying it from them. So that's what we're dealing with here. A big reason I can tell you that this sold, that other people are sitting, is obviously the view, where it's located, and a very, very coveted south-facing view. When you're on the water, to say those go for a premium is an understatement. Definitely those are desirable in a world where other things aren't. The rest of the photos are just going to be amenities. So I hope that gets you a pretty good preview of the kind of things that we're talking about, right? That actually sell. Moving on to the next price point quickly. Again, we have a 700 plus square foot unit. I know this building very well, 25 Grenville. I've worked in it before. It's a great building. The thing is, the maintenance fees are very high. That's why you're going to see prices like the one that we see here. So we sold for $410. And again, I can guarantee you that the maintenance fee is going to be a lot higher. 0 parking spaces again, hence the low 400,000s. And the maintenance fee is $976. Okay, but again, keep in mind, you got the price for $410,000. So you're saving a lot of money compared to a larger unit if you're paying that maintenance. The general rule of thumb we go by is about $350 to $400 a month of maintenance is going to be $100,000 that the bank loans you. So if your maintenance is $300 to $400 more a month, then the bank is going to lower your approval, let's say from $600,000 to $500,000 if your maintenance fee shoots up by that about $400 a month mark. And let's get into the unit and see what we're actually dealing with. So in fact, I helped a client of ours sell a unit with this very layout in 2023 in the summer. Prices are far different now than what they were before. How quick did this sell? 13 days on market. So this clearly, it's not me saying it, right? It's the market showing you that it's a good deal. If you have 7 months of inventory for condos right now and almost everything is sitting, the few things that are selling, especially only in 13 days on market, it shows you that it's a good deal. Right at Yonge and College, right? So areas that you're always going to want to live in no matter what. Let's keep going and skip a few because I wanted to give you the 400, 410 price range. Now let's see what you get in the mid 400,000s. So let's see a unit like, for example, this one. Again, you've got no parking spots, less than 600 square feet. So we're seeing a trend, right? If you're paying in the low to mid 400,000s, you're expecting that you're probably not going to come with a parking spot. So if you're shopping in that price range and you do drive, it doesn't mean you can't get something and can't get a parking spot. You're probably just going to have to get a little bit more creative about it. Most likely rent from somebody in your building, but sometimes you can even rent from somebody outside of your building as well. If there's a parking spot being offered. So not the end of the world, definitely still want to explore these options. Let's go ahead and quickly check the maintenance fee. Tiny bit high, right, at $624. Nothing egregious. And we see another estate sales. Okay, so this is 540 square feet, keep in mind, with no parking space. So pretty much your average 1-bedroom space. As far as that goes, you're getting it for $440K, $670 something maintenance fee, and you're getting a nice neighborhood, obviously, right at Davenport and Yonge. So if we take this downtown core, right, we're going to be noticing a trend. We're going to be noticing that if people pay about $400,000 to $450,000, you're getting one of two things, okay? You're either getting an older unit in an older building with higher maintenance fees, but with a better layout, still no parking space. But by better layout, I mean 600, 700 plus square feet of space, or you're getting something that's new and small, okay? Like for example, this one at 9 Tecumseh Street in Niagara, we're gonna be a much smaller unit, less than 500 square feet. Let's go inside and have a look. So obviously, kitchen hits you right away as soon as you get inside. No wasted space, but also no space to waste. and we're looking at another building right outside, be at the top of the other building, so you might get a little bit more sunlight coming in than just, directly staring at a high rise, but obviously light is going to be very limited. There's a lot of artificial white light that we see even in these photos. I don't think that there's going to be a lot of natural light, unfortunately, to be had in something like this, hence obviously the price point. So if you're getting yourself into a newer building, you want to spend $410,000, you're going to be pretty happy with something probably less than 500 square feet, because here maintenance $491, under 500, still a little bit pricey, but pretty much reasonable and average for today, especially post-COVID. Again, sold in the last week, and it's 475 square feet, which is, some comments might come at me for this, but it's not a micro unit to me, okay? Micro units to me are less than 400 square feet. So again, going back to our theme, that if you're in the mid to low 400,000s, you're getting either smaller space in a newer building or larger space in an older building, but still no parking, okay? And the amount of space you can get varies, up to 800 square feet sometimes. Check this unit out, for example. So it sold for $460,000. It's right at 705 King Street West. And let's go ahead and have a look at what you're actually getting. Again, we'll see the maintenance fee after. I guarantee you it'll be higher. Kind of a retro looking unit. It's a blast from the past for sure. Look at all that broadloom carpeting, the ceiling fan. It dates itself just by looking at it, but you know what? It's got a lot of character too. A lot of people really like these older buildings now, especially again if they're well managed and the fees are reasonable, which I'm not sure is going to be the case here, because we have a price of $460 and a unit of over 800 square feet. Again, you've got the whole broadloom situation, nice kind of long bedroom, because you've got a lot of extra square feet to play with, because old builder, more spacious layouts. This is very classic stuff here, right? And the building doesn't have any balconies at all, so at least you have that solarium and sunroom to make up for it. Without further ado, the maintenance fee is $792. So compared to the rest of this video, not horrible, but you've got 818 square feet of finished living space, so you're not going to beat that. And check this out right here. This is the kicker. So you get a price of less than 470, right? You get a 460 purchase price, and you get a parking spot, and you get maintenance of less than $800. And for that, you get over 800 square feet of space. Now, the only thing that we would have wanted to see is obviously another bedroom. This is just a 1+ den, 1 bath. Is the den large enough to actually house somebody? We'll have to take another look. And okay, I see what happened here. So the den they're talking about is actually the solarium, right? So there's not actually a den besides that. It's just a very large 1 bed, 1 bath. If you told a builder today that they should build a 1 bed, 1 bath that's over 800 square feet, they'd laugh at you, right? Like, they're not putting that kind of product out there anymore. And this is definitely a blast from the past. But the building doesn't seem like it has crazy maintenance fees, right? It's getting about $1 a square foot, just less, which again, for these older buildings is passable, right? As long as you're getting it at a really good price, which this person did. And continues with our trend, right? What can you get for less than 500 in Toronto? Well, it depends what you're looking for. Are you looking for something brand new? Because then you're going to be probably going for something about 450 to 550 square feet, right? If you can get 550 square feet for less than 500, that's a pretty good buy in this kind of market. The numbers say it, right? I don't have to make it up for you. And these examples pretty much back that up as well. We get a 465 purchase price for 210 Simcoe Street, which is a newer building, less than 500 square foot unit. So here at 210 Simcoe Street, 465 purchase price, and the square footage of the unit is 481. So again, that 450 to 500 square feet, 465 purchase price, very new building, obstructed view looking into another building, such as Life Downtown. But another thing that if you had a better view, then it would be charging a premium, right? It wouldn't go for this kind of price. And we have the internal bedroom that we were talking about before. So you'll hear me say it once, you'll hear me say it a million times. These bedrooms, yes, they're good for the builder to tell you that you're getting a one bedroom and make the space a little bit more efficient, but they're also less desirable, right? The sliding doors will never give you as much sunlight, will never give you as good a floor plan. They went for kind of a hard loft feel with the ceilings, which people are attracted to. But is it enough to really give it that juice, right? They wanted a $499,900 asking price, and after 54 days, they came back to reality and went for $465. And again, this is within the last week. So this is real data of what's moving out there, what your money can get you in the downtown core, okay? And one last one that I'll show you here, kind of again, another interesting layout. So you get one parking space, right? You get maintenance fees of $599, so very reasonable, okay? And only 9 days on market. So again, when we talk about things that the market views as a good deal, right? A different seller might have put this for more money. Like these guys went for $485 immediately with a parking spot, right? At 90 Trinity Street. So that's going to be Front and Parliament. These guys kind of attack the market. They're like, we're serious to sell. We want to go less than 500,000. We know we have over 500 square feet. We know we have a parking spot. And 9 days later, market rewards them, sold for 475. That's what it takes to kind of sell in this market, right? Here's one thing I'll point out as well. Possession remarks, the sooner the better, right? So these are things that agents see that give away that you're really motivated and you want a deal to happen. Look at this as well. Commission to the cooperating broker of 3.5%. Usually we see 2.5. So just goes to show these people really wanted to sell. They didn't want to mess around. They're done with this unit. Let's go, give me my money, whatever it's worth, and let's keep this thing rolling. And they clearly were priced very aggressively. So again, hard loft style building that is a little bit more desirable to people for whatever reason. It just looks a little bit more raw, you know, has that factory vibe about it, that you're living in an industrial city. People seem to really dig it. You've got a den here that obviously can serve as an office. Whether or not it's practical is a different story, but the space definitely is there. These spaces matter, right? And make a difference. If you can or can't have a desk, is going to make a huge difference. Or if your desk has to be there and you have to put it into the living room because you don't have a den, that can impact your lifestyle a lot, right? Really wide closets spanning the entirety of the room, and pretty open and airy with all of the windows, especially with the slightly curved layout. So the unit has a lot of charm, right? You could see why someone would go for something like this. And this is the building amenities. So again, $475, but with parking, 9 days on market, really ready to kind of attack the market and give it for a good price. But this is the kind of thing that you can get if you're ready, you know, motivated as a buyer as well, right? This is probably the kind of buyer who's been waiting for the right opportunity to strike, right? They're patient. They say, yes, I know I can get no parking spots under 500,000, but can I get something that's a decent size, right, in the 500s in square feet plus, and get it in a good building, still have it relatively newer so that my maintenance fees don't skyrocket, and can I get it with a parking spot, sub 500,000? So that's where I'm going to conclude this video today. What did we learn? If you're looking for something less than 500,000 and you're a buyer, our recommendation to you, be patient, right? Be waiting for that right deal to come along, because a lot of sellers are not actually motivated to sell, right? They're sitting at prices that they feel, if I get it, that's good, but if I don't, that's fine for whatever reason. But every so often a seller comes along as well, like we saw today, that is motivated, right? I'm not saying to go and offer the cooperating agent more commission or anything like that. That's really playing your hand, in my opinion, and kind of saying, lowball us and we're going to work with you. But at the same time, a lot of people who are serious about selling don't have any other options in this market, and they're turning to the last resorts. And that's the kind of red flags or green flags for us as investors or buyers or people who want a good purchase price in a market like this one. That's what we should be looking for, people who are serious about selling, who are ready to meet the market where it is, whose expectations aren't unrealistically high, and where we can get the best value for our dollar. Again, know your priorities. If you're okay with a higher maintenance fee, you understand that it's going to impact the approval, but you want more space, 7, 8, sometimes 100 square feet, you're okay with a 1-bedroom, 1+ den. Absolutely, go for something that's in an older building. Make sure the maintenance fee isn't, unreasonably high, right? Ideally keep it under 700-800 if you can, but buildings like 25 Grenville, that's unfortunately not going to happen. They're going to be in the 900s, but if that's the case, then really negotiate on price, right? Keep that in mind, and lower your mortgage payments as well if you're going to have to be paying those maintenance fees. Or understand that if you want a nice, newer building, really low maintenance fees, state-of-the-art facilities, again, make sure to research the building and the property manager, read the reviews on places like Reddit, Facebook groups, make sure that you're getting into a good building if it's newer. Post-pandemic, a lot of buildings are having issues, so definitely something to keep in mind. But again, you want the new building, you're okay with a slightly smaller space, definitely something to explore there as well, right? Take your 500,000, get yourself something in the 500s in square feet. Potentially you have to sacrifice the parking spot at that price point, but you get yourself into a nice new building at an excellent location downtown. If you want to rent it out one day, the rental potential will be there for you as well. So a lot of stuff to consider and keep in mind. But guys, that's gonna do it for us today. I know it's a really different video, something new that we're trying obviously as well. We really hope that it resonates and that you get a lot of value from it. Again, liking and hitting the subscribe button would be awesome, and I'd appreciate you lots. In the meantime, have a great week ahead, and we'll talk to you very soon. Take care.